Hello, and welcome to the Feeling Good podcast, where you can learn powerful techniques to change the way you feel. I am your host, Dr. Rhonda Borowski, and joining me here in the Murrieta studio is Dr. David Burns. Dr. Burns is a pioneer in the development of cognitive behavioral therapy and the creator of the new Team Therapy. He is the author of Feeling Good, which has sold over 5 million copies in the United States and has been translated into over 30 languages. His latest book, Feeling Great, contains powerful new techniques that make rapid recovery possible for many people struggling with depression and anxiety. Dr. Burns is currently an emeritus adjunct professor of clinical psychiatry at Stanford University School of Medicine.
Hello, Rhonda.
Hi, David, and welcome to episode 286 to all of our listeners around the world, across the country, around the world. Today is an international day. We have two incredible team therapists from Team-CBT Mexico, Victoria Chicurel. I'm trying to pronounce it like a Mexican would say it. And Silvina Bucci. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, Dr. Burns. We are so grateful to be here. I'm very happy to share with you what we are doing in Mexico.
Good.
We're excited to hear from you, and thank you so much. It's an honor to speak with both of you today, and I think all of our podcast fans will be excited, too, to hear what you've been up to. It's very unique and very special.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
I thought I would start with a quick endorsement that's a really positive one. She didn't want me to share her name, but a mother wrote to us, "Dear Rhonda and David, I want to tell you how important your podcast number 267, How to Talk to Loved Ones About Your Sexual Orientation, was for me. I am the mother of a teenager who is bisexual and gender fluid. My husband and I are learning how to honor her wishes as she learns to navigate a world that is not always open and affirming. We know that there will be difficult conversations for our teen with relatives and others outside the family. Hearing how to use the 5 secrets, even when I frankly might just want to punch people in the nose for rejecting my child, really helped me. I intend to have our family listen to the podcast together so that we can try to get things right. I want to tell you how much I love listening to you, David, and all of your special guests on the podcasts. Thank you. The work you're doing is helping me and my family so much. Thank you so much."
Well, that's a beautiful note, and we love hearing things like that because that's the kind of impact we're hoping to make with these podcasts. So it's a big reward for us when we hear from so many of you with so many really lovely notes, primarily lovely notes, not exclusively. Every now and then we get a kind of a zinger of a not so lovely note, but we appreciate those too, because we can learn from criticism as well as praise.
Correct. Right. So, Victoria, you have been involved in something called low intensity CBT. So can you just describe what that is for us?
Oh, of course, Rhonda. Well, I want to tell to everybody that, as you know, English is not my native language, so I don't speak so well, and I hope you will understand me. I will do my best. The first time I hear about CBT, it was in Mexico, because Professor Yehuda Bar Shalom let us know that in Israel they do this kind of projects. That it means that they teach to people that they are not licensed, but they learn how to explain the methods to the people that need mental health, so they can work with them. It's like a first aids, psychological first aids. So after that, one day, Daniel Minty called me and told me if I wanted to work with Nancy Minty, that she is the director of Uncommon Good in Pomona Valley, California. She has this organization that it's an incredible work, because in this organization, they guide the kids and the parents from the kids are about 4th grade to go until 12th grade, and they can then go to the university. And a lot of these kids go to the university, to very good universities, and they have scholarships. So when the pandemic began, a lot of problems became, mental health problems came with the pandemic, as everybody knows. So they are immigrants. Some of them are not documented. So they began to have a lot of mental health problems, and nobody can help them because they cannot pay the mental health help, and because they speak Spanish. So that's why Daniel Minty asked me to go with Nancy Minty and to see if I can work with them. So Daniel and I prepared all the program, and I began to work with these ladies that they are the leader parents. And
before you go on, let's summarize what you said so far. Do you want to do that, Rhonda?
Okay. So there were some immigrants in the Pomona, California area. They were mostly women who were Mexican immigrants. Some of them were documented, some of them were not. And Nancy Minty runs an organization called Uncommon Good, and she was going to hire you to train these women to be, we're going to call them lay therapists or peer therapists or peer counselors.
They call them, I forgot the name. I will say you later.
Okay.
Promotoras. They are the health promotoras.
Health promotoras.
Yeah.
Okay. And so your job, because what was going on was these women and other women and other people, children, teens, young adults were having mental health, we're in a mental health crisis because of the COVID pandemic. And so you were hired by Nancy. I'm kind of jumping the gun. But were you hired by Nancy to train the health promotoras to put on psychological first aid?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
That's right. So I began to work with them. Daniel Minty and I did a complete program, and we began to explain to them what are the different emotions and what are the healthy and unhealthy emotions. And then they began to learn a lot about Team-CBT, the basic things of Team-CBT, and they began to learn about the cognitive distortions and about anxiety. The most important thing that I learned was the 5 secrets of effective communications that we know them thanks to Dr. David Burns. So this is the ingredient I think that help a lot, because when they are in touch with these people that need help and they work with the 5 secrets, we are having very good results. They also learn some different techniques, the basic techniques, the cognitive techniques, and they learn also semantic. And they do shame attacking, and they do wonderful shame attacking. It was Daniel Minty did international contest of shame attackings, and one of my students, she earned the first place, and it really changed her life, because she's so confident in herself, and she's doing so well. It was wonderful. They learned also uncovering.
Okay, well, before we go on, it's great what you just said. What was she, did she struggle with shyness or social anxiety? And what shame attacking exercise did she do?
Okay, this lady that she won the contest, she was very, very shy, and she all the time was asking permission to talk, and she was very afraid to share her opinion and things like that, because she was very shy and she had not confidence in herself. So she did, for me, it's an extreme shame attack, David, because she was taking her English class by Zoom, and she asked the teacher to give her 5 minutes because she wanted to share something with their classmates, because she has a homework that she had to bring to her teacher. So she said it in English. It was very difficult for her, but she said that she was going to sing, that she doesn't know how to sing, and that she was shaking because she's going to sing. So she sang a very difficult song, and when she finished the song, everybody were very happy with her, and everybody were very empathic, and they gave her very nice words, but it was very hard. And since this moment, I think her life changed, because it was really a challenge.
So she decided to sing a song in front of her classmates, even though that made her very frightened and anxious to do that.
Yes, and she sang in English, and she knows that she has not a nice voice.
Oh, I see. Yes, right.
That makes it even harder.
Yeah.
In a second language with a not very nice voice. So good for her.
Yeah.
That's why she won the first place in the contest.
In an international contest, too. How exciting.
Yeah.
Well, Victoria, what else is taught at the low-intensity CBT in Mexico? Well, it's actually not in Mexico. It's in Pomona, California.
Now we are working in Pomona. These promotoras have, once a week, we have a supervision. I supervise the work that they are doing, because we know that they cannot see everybody, just first aids, health, mental health, and they cannot do everything. So we supervise each patient that they are taking, that they are looking. And little by little, people is coming, because also people are afraid to ask for help, because sometimes you know that people think that if they ask for help, maybe everybody is going to know what is happening with him, or maybe he doesn't want to ask for help because the people can feel that they are not effective or that they are not crazy. So we are struggling with that, but little by little they are coming, and they are having very good results. And when they have a client that they cannot help them, we Uncommon Good gives the help that they need. They guide where they have to go, or they give the help with a professional psychology.
And you said something that was really caught my ear, that the results they're getting have been really good with the program. Are you testing? Are you using testing
yes.
tools?
They use each session the BMS.
The brief mood survey.
A special BMS that they use each session. Then we can see how they are doing, and we can also see the changes that they are doing in their own lives.
Mm. And I'm imagining that that brief mood survey was translated into Spanish.
Yes.
Nice. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, what are your current goals for the low intensity CBT program? And what are your current and longer term goals?
I didn't understand the
what are your goals? Like how would you like to see this program grow and develop?
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. The goals is that we can help as much as people as possible, that they can know that they can have help, that they can come to Uncommon Good and ask for this kind of help, and that it will be good for them, and that they are safe, and it's very confidential and without judgment. And I had a meeting this Saturday, and it was very good. They began to understand better, because everybody needs some help, no? So
yeah.
Sometimes in our lives. So the goal is that they know that they have a place that they can come and they will have this kind of help, no? And that they can have a better life. Most of them also begin to read the Promotoras Feeling Good, the book, and they really like it. And they began to understand that they can change their life if they change the way they are thinking. One told me that since she began to take this program, she understood that she's not crazy, that what is distortion is the thoughts. And she's doing wonderful now.
That's great. Do they have the Spanish version of Feeling Good?
Yeah.
Do they share that? Because I know it's very expensive.
Yeah. Some bought it in English and some in Spanish. The Spanish versions of your books, Dr. Burns, are very expensive, yes, because I have some patients that I ask them to read, for example, Feeling Good Together in Spanish, and they told me that it's very, very expensive. Yeah. I don't know why.
I don't know why either. I think they should just print it in the United States in Spanish rather than doing it through foreign things. But the translated books do get very expensive, and that's always bothered me. But I'm glad that they have at least some copies of it. I had some extras here, and then I gave it to a colleague who was teaching in Spanish here in the Bay Area. And so I had three or four extras. That was Danielle Levy. And I gave her the my extras there. But I'm just so glad at what you're doing. And so these are Spanish-speaking people who are new to the United States. Many are undocumented immigrants, and they're fearful doubly because if they have some trouble with anxiety or depression, they might have a tendency to feel ashamed, but also not want to get, captured by somebody and sent back to Mexico. And then this Uncommon Good gives them a location where they can go and get some treatment. And some of that treatment is being provided, if I understand you, by other lay therapists who have been given some training in at least a few of the individual mood techniques, like the cognitive distortions, as well as the relationship techniques, like the 5 secrets of effective communication. And how many have been trained as therapists? How many lay people?
At the beginning, we had 20 students. And at the end, we had about 15. But now they are very committed, about 9, 10. And I think it's very good because it's half of the promotoras that stay and very committed with the program.
Great. So about half of them who went into the training to be lay therapists have continued, and they're now functioning as lay therapists. That's terrific.
Yes.
The ones who dropped out, do you know why they dropped out?
Yeah. there were different reasons. Once her father passed away. Other one said that this is not for her. Another one, she had problems at the work and she had not the time and things like that. Different reasons.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rhonda.
When you first talked to me about this, Victoria, you said it was really important that you were doing the work because of this. So many of the women spoke different dialects of Spanish that you really needed to have be utterly and completely fluent in Spanish in order to work with them and to make the Team-CBT come alive in their language. Oh
yeah, that's true. Most of the students I had, they came from Mexico, but you know that the Republic of Mexico is very, very big. And we have different states and with different costumes and with different way of thinking and talking. So we had to talk in the same way as our mutual language now is the 5 secrets.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah.
The mutual language is the 5 secrets. I love that.
Okay, I see.
And then you were going to ask something, weren't you, David?
I can't remember what it was. Back to you, Rhonda.
Okay. Silvina, you've been quiet. Have you been involved in the low intensity Team-CBT also?
No, I'm not. I'm not part of the program. Victoria is, and she's doing a wonderful job.
Yeah, she is. Well, you're working with Victoria to really grow Team-CBT Mexico.
That's right. That's right. I first enrolled in Team-CBT certification program at the Rica University, and I was part of the second generation of Team-CBT in Mexico. And I attended different workshops online. They were offered by Tyann Truog and David and Jill. And at the time, my teachers were Professor Yehuda Bar Shalom and Victoria. And they were very kind to share with us, with the class, the information about the then coming workshop in San Francisco. It was 2019. And I was able to attend, and that's where I became more closer friends with Victoria. And then we started, in the midst of the pandemic, we started with Team-CBT Mexico. And we are trying to spread the availability of Team-CBT in Spanish to all the people in the world that want to learn Team-CBT and they don't have it in their main language.
So what type of population is the Team-CBT Mexico aimed at? Like, what are you doing to generate patients and train more therapists? How is it growing?
Thankfully, it's going mouth to mouth. The spreading with the word. But I think Victoria wants to answer completely what is the population that is aimed at.
Oh, thank you, Silvina. For one hand, I continue giving classes in the Hebraica University, and they have their own publicity. But now I am just working with licensed students, and we have also our own classes with Silvina, and we are doing our own organization, and we do in social media some publicity. We have our own web page. And also our students are very happy and they say one to the other. And we are spreading it just out of Mexico. Now we are beginning to have some students. Now we have students from Peru. We have from Spain. and Colombia, Ecuador. No.
Oh.
What else, Silvina?
Right now, I think it's Colombia, Ecuador, Mexico, and Spain.
Yeah, and I had from Peru. There are a lot of people that they are Spanish speaking and they don't speak English, but they are very interesting in Dr. David Burns' work. So they are familiar with the work and they are looking where they can learn it in Spanish. So we have all the material in Spanish. We have all the handouts in Spanish, and we are doing everything in Spanish. But we are always checking that what we are doing is the same in Spanish as you do in English. That's why I am in the Wednesdays group learning from you, and Silvina also. And we read and we listen to the podcast, and people are very happy that now they have the opportunity to study Team-CBT in Spanish because a lot don't speak English.
Mm-hmm. That's important. So you you teach at a university with professional therapists who are licensed and going through a licensing program at the university, and you and Silvina teach through your own business, private classes.
Yeah.
And people find you by word of mouth through your webpage, and I've seen you advertise on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah. Silvina is wonderful in doing the web page. She's a master. And
Thank you.
People like
that. What are every time a new business starts, there are some growing pains. What are the difficulties that you've experienced teaching team in Mexico?
Oh, I want that to answer Silvina. She has a lot of nice things
give Silvina
to share.
I think the most difficult thing we had is that people is often a little skeptical about the using of testing, to start to use testing in their practice, the instrument of the brief mood survey. And also one other thing that I found difficult for the people to learn, for us to transmit and they incorporate in their is when we teach the 5 secrets of effective communication, when they have to talk about their feelings, when we teach the I feel statement, it's difficult for them to start to share with their patient their feeling when they're not used to do it, when they were taught not to do it always in the practice. And I think also the disarming technique, because of it's very hard for them to start to say, you're right, and to feel less professional. That's how sometimes they feel it. So I think those are the main things. And also all the paradoxical part of Team-CBT. It's always hard for them to incorporate.
Yeah, we have those same exact problems, in the United States. And I did a 2-day workshop in Mexico City. It had to be at least more than 10 years ago, I think. But I think they were saying then that there's been a strong psychoanalytic, psychodynamic influence there, the same as in the United States. And I know when I was trained by psychoanalytic therapists in Philadelphia, and the idea of sharing your feelings with patients would be just absolutely condemned and against the law almost, and also using the disarming technique. I did a demonstration of the 5 secrets at a hospital, a religious hospital in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is a kind of a Quaker area, very conservative, where they go around in horse and buggy and they don't use electricity, and very kind of strict religious training. And in one of the demonstrations, I was teaching the 5 secrets, and the department chairman walked in to see how the workshop was going. I had been working with a lot of the people in the hospital there, and they were very lovely and very eager to learn. But I did the kind of demonstration where one plays the role of an angry patient and the other plays the role of the therapist. And the department chairman offered to play the role of the therapist. And I thought to myself, I don't think this is a good idea because he's not familiar with these techniques. But he was going to, show off to his employees his high level of skill, I guess. And so the one who was in the role of the patient began to be very critical of him, which was exactly what we had asked that person to do. And then it was his turn to respond. The criticisms like, you don't really understand me and you're not helping me and I don't think you really care about me, those kinds of typical criticisms that we learn how to respond with the disarming technique. And then there was this long silence what is this very wise, powerful man going to say? And then he looked at her and said, "You must have had a very troubled childhood." And there was a gasp throughout the audience, but it was so typical of conventional training that you don't. It's not a human relationship, and everything is kind of like the patient's fault and so forth. So I think that is an uphill battle trying to teach these new techniques to people who have been trained in conventional psychoanalytic and psychodynamic techniques that are absolutely radically different.
Yeah, it is. What we ask to our students since the beginning is that we know that they know a lot of things and they have studied a lot, different types of psychology. But the only thing that we ask is that they will forget everything just for 3 hours a week when they are in our class, in our training. And in this way, they can give the opportunity to the new information to come in to their minds and they can adopt it. After that, if they go out and if they want to do Team-CBT, it's okay. And if they will not want to do Team-CBT, it's okay also. But if we ask for the opportunity of 3 hours to be just leaving everything outside of the classroom. And we also tell them that Team-CBT is not easy to learn, that we are going to fail a lot of times, and it's okay. And also we have to practice a lot. No, it's like a pilot that can have a plane,
Turbulence.
To drive a plane. That for driving a plane you have to practice a lot. Team-CBT is the same, but it's a challenge and it's very interesting each day that you became better and you began to see that you can do it.
So the class is a 3-hour class once a week?
Yes.
Oh, that's nice. That's like a little workshop almost.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's within the university, is that right?
Yes.
And then they can also go and get additional supervision at your business. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I was so excited about both of the programs that you're doing. Going back to the one in Southern California with immigrants and people with very free resources, I think I've mentioned to you that we had a similar program when I was living in Philadelphia at my hospital, and we had a large group CBT program for the people in our neighborhood, and we hired people from the neighborhood and taught them to be kind of like lay coaches running the cognitive therapy groups, and they were supervised by licensed people, by a clinical psychologist. But they only had the training from the leader's manual that I wrote for the 10 Days to Self-Esteem program that we were running there. And some people thought, cognitive therapy won't work with this population because a lot of our people couldn't read or write, and some were homeless and sleeping on the streets and that type of thing. But we found that the program was tremendously successful and effective and well received by that population. And was one of the most fun and rewarding populations that I've ever worked with. And I can imagine that you had a similar reception from non-English speaking immigrants who somebody is doing something to try to help them, because a lot of the people in our neighborhood, nobody was doing anything to help them. And then when we created this program, there was a tremendous amount of enthusiasm and gratitude. And we had to simplify some of the ideas, instead of calling them cognitive distortions, which are big words, we called it, twisted thinking. And instead of calling it all or nothing thinking, we called it black and white thinking. It had a checkerboard and little vignettes and things like that. So we simplified it a little, but it was just very well received and exciting to work with that population. Did you have a similar experience down in, was it LA or San Diego or?
No, this is Pomona Valley, very close to LA. And yes, Dr. Burns, I have the same feeling. And I'm so grateful with Nancy Minty that she gave me this opportunity, because I really love this community. And I think the work that I love, the more I love in this moment, because they really take this help and they change their lives, just changing the way of they are thinking, and knowing that there are a lot of people that care about them, and that they have the opportunity to get mental health help, and it's very moving. And these promotoras, I really respect them a lot, and I admire them, because they are working with all their heart, and they understand what are the problems that the people have. They have problems since they were living in Mexico, all the problems that they had in our country, that they have to leave the country. And now they have all the problems to live in a country that they don't speak the language and they are not documented. So it's very interesting, and they are very brave. And there is a boy now that he had a complete scholarship to go to Columbia University, for example, and the results are wonderful. So for me, it has been the best opportunity of my life, and I'm very grateful.
That's neat. The 10 who were trained to be lay therapists, are they now practicing that, and do they get any payment for their lay therapy?
Yeah, Uncommon Good pays them.
I see. How much do they get paid per hour?
I'm not sure, but maybe $15.
Right. So that probably seems like a really exciting opportunity for them.
Of course, yeah.
Well, that's neat to hear. I'm so glad to hear that. And then the people who come to them for treatment, do they get free treatment, or do they have to pay for the treatment? Or
they get free treatment.
That's really neat.
Pays.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Victoria, will you be teaching another group of promotoras?
Not now. Now we are doing this work that will get bigger and to have more clients that need help.
Mm-hmm.
But in the future, maybe we can do more groups like that in several states of the United States, because there are a lot of immigrants that need this kind of help. And I really think that it's very, very wonderful to help people that don't have the opportunity and they don't have the money to get it.
One of the people in our Tuesday group, Sunny Choi, is from Hong Kong. And he was for many years, after he got trained in our Tuesday group, he was working with mainly immigrants in the San Francisco Bay Area, many of whom didn't speak English. So he had to work through translators. And he was only allowed to see them for something like 35 minutes. Because they had so many patients, and he had a huge volume of patients. But he also reported that population was very easy to work with, even though they had pretty severe problems with anxiety and somatic, physical complaints because of emotional upset. And of course, they run into a lot of prejudice and hostility and that type of thing as well. But he said that one of the things is that the immigrants from, Chinese speaking, and he also treated a lot of Mexican speaking immigrants, but he said that the immigrants don't have the idea that you go for months or years to your psychiatrist or psychologist. And so they really like the idea of, going for 2 or 3 or 4 sessions and then recovering and going forward. Unlike in America, you say we have to sell it to the therapists, all these new techniques, but sometimes you have to sell them to patients too, because they think they're supposed to come and talk for months or years.
Yeah.
But I don't know, did you also find that the immigrant population in the Pomona Valley were often could respond very, very rapidly? And also, have you found that in Mexico, or do the Mexican patients come with the expectation that they'll be treated for months or years?
Oh, okay. In Pomona Valley, the population that we have seen, most of them get much better in 10 sessions. That is more or less what we want the promotoras be with each client. In Mexico, I think there are people that it's different. We do a private practice, so I think there are a lot of people that just want to talk. But the people that work with Team-CBT, they have the results very quickly. Also, I just was working with a girl that she has a lot of anxiety because she has perfectionism. And in 5 sessions, she became very happy again. What do you think, Silvina, about that? I don't know.
I think, as in every country, the people who go to therapy in the first place, what they expect is a miracle, to have a change without having to work on it. That's why the miracle cure question is so great, right? So I think everybody expects that. And that's where the resistance and the motivation they have. And then you go from there. But I think in every country, the people is the same in this aspect.
Yeah, right. Interesting. Well, I'm excited to hear the work that you're doing both in the Pomona Valley as well as down in Mexico. And I'm sure you feel the same way, Rhonda.
I do. I am. That's why we're so happy to have Victoria and Silvina here.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure that we'll put your contact information in the show notes. So if somebody who is living anywhere within the Spanish-speaking world, I imagine Mexico, Latin America, you mentioned Spain, Peru, so South America, who wants to come to learn from you guys, especially because of Zoom, people from all over can come. maybe it would be fun, even though if people are listening to this podcast, they're hearing it in English, maybe it would be fun for you to let them know in Spanish how they could contact you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Silvina, can you tell them, please?
Yes, we have a web page. It's
Silvina.
Say it again, please.
Oh, did I freeze?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want me to say it in Spanish or in English?
In English first. www.team
_CBTmexico.com.
Oh, great. www.team-CBTmexico.com. And now say it in Spanish. Do you want me to say it in Spanish?
Yes.
I don't speak Spanish.
You can try.
You'll have to do it.
Okay, then in Spanish it will be www.team-CBTmexico.com.
Okay, and that's a website.
That is a website, and then they can find phone numbers, email address, and every way they can contact us if they're interested in learning Team-CBT in Spanish.
Fantastic. Anything else that either of you would like to say in Spanish to our audience?
Do you have any upcoming classes you'd like to announce?
I would like to say something in English to David, to Dr. Burns. I would like to tell you that the workshop experience was amazing, and I hope you keep doing them, because the way you generously teach is really something else. And I think that everyone feels welcome at your workshops, and I hope we have the chance to go to more of them.
Thanks. I hope to be able to do it again. The COVID has really slowed things down, although I love the teaching virtually, because people from all over the world can now attend our weekly trainings. But there was a lot of magic, and that might have been the last intensive.
It was
pretty much that you folks attended. We didn't know it at the time, but I remember, that workshop, and I remember both of you being there. And I hope that magic will come back one of these days. Absolutely. The live demos on stage, was that the one where all the anxious people got up on the stage?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And when our students are reading the ebook, I always said to them, please read it and do all the exercises. Why? Because if you do the exercises, you are going to learn from the master of masters, Dr. David Burns. So I cannot teach like he teaches you. So please do the exercises. And thank you for the opportunity. I want to say to everybody in Spanish, gracias por escucharnos. Cualquier persona que tenga ganas de estudiar Team-CBT en español, por favor, contáctenos. Va a ser un gusto poderlos apoyar y poderlos ayudar y podernos divertir juntos. Rhonda, David, thank you very much, and see you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been our honor to have you.
It was an honor to be here.
This has been another episode of the Feeling Good podcast. For more information, visit Dr. Burns' website at feelinggood.com, where you will find the show notes under the podcast page. You will also find archives of previous episodes and many resources for therapists and non-therapists. We welcome your comments and questions. If you want to support the show, please share the podcast with people who might benefit from it. You could also go to iTunes and leave a 5-star rating. I am your host, Rhonda Borowski, the director of the Feeling Great Therapy Center. We hope you enjoyed this episode. I invite you to join us next time for another episode of the Feeling Good podcast.